with his attorney as well as counsel for the state. All the jurors are in the jury room. The first order of business I wanted to take care of this morning, I've been informed that we have a new interpreter that will be assisting this morning. Sir, if you could stand and identify yourself for the court, please.
My name is Paul Gomez.
Paul Gomez. Mr. Gomez, you're an AOC certified interpreter.
I am.
And what level of certification do you hold?
Level A2.
A2?
Yes, sir.
Are you from here in Wake? Or?
I'm from Montgomery County.
Okay. Are you here just for today?
I am, Your Honor.
Very well. In a few minutes, when we bring the jury in, you're not going to be the first one. He's not going to be the first one. I think what I'll do is go ahead and swear him in so that he's ready to go whenever you get to a witness that his services are needed.
And for specific time purposes, I'll be here until noon.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll be done.
All right. Mr. Sachs, do you have anything or do we need to talk about anything for some purposes?
Just as I mentioned, schedule-wise, I knew, and you informed the jury yesterday, we were only going till 1 today. So I do have 3 witnesses here. The 4th one's going to be our main crime scene technician from CCBI. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish all that today, so we didn't call any other witnesses in. I think there's a better than fair chance that we won't finish with the CCBI agent. But in the event that we do somehow, I won't have another witness here unless you tell me to call somebody else, in. But I think that is probably going to take, if not all the time, the bulk of the time.
So. I just happen to probably, I noticed witness, I believe it's going to be interpreted for, last name is Gomez as well. I just assume there's no relation or they don't know each other.
I've never met
Okay, all right.
Mario Urbina Gomez.
And he's standing up now. You heard it.
Gentleman here in this
Yes.
white shirt.
Yes, sir.
Are you related to him in any way? By blood or marriage?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
Bring it down.
Anything else? All right, you bring him to jury, please. All 14 members of the jury are present. Please make sure that we have the right notebooks back in the right chair. Make sure that, again, I'll just remind you that if you need an ink pen or a notebook, let the bailiffs know and we'll provide one for you. Before we start or proceed this morning, there was one housekeeping matter I just wanted to address with you all. Actually, 2. First, to remind you that because of some scheduling things that the court has to deal with this afternoon, we will not be in session after 1 o'clock today, or when we finish the morning business. We will adjourn until Monday morning. The other issue I wanted to address with you, you all have seen witnesses being offered and testifying with the use or assistance of interpreters. We have a new interpreter, or a different interpreter that's going to be here today, and I wanted to go ahead and administer, or ask the court to administer the oath to the interpreter now, so that I believe that one of the witnesses that you'll hear from this morning will utilize the services of the interpreter, and rather than having to stop and do that at that point, we'll go ahead and do it now before we get started. Mr. Gomez, if you'll stand, please, and the Bible is here. Mr. Sachs, if you'll place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right.
Do you solemnly swear that you will truly interpret to the witness the questions propounded to you for that purpose, and that you will truly interpret to the jury such answers to the best of your knowledge and ability, so help you God? Thank you.
And with that, Mr. Sachs, you may contact the witness.
Thank you. Your Honor, the state will call Margaret Bell to the stand. Just be careful of that.
Ma'am, if you would please stand, place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Sachs.
Thank you. Good morning, ma'am. Would you please introduce yourself to this jury?
Margaret Bell.
And Ms. Bell, back in December of 2012 and January of 2013, how were you employed?
I was a senior investigator with Wake County Sheriff's Office.
Are you still with the Wake County Sheriff's Office?
I'm not.
Are you now retired?
Yes, sir.
How long were you with the Wake County Sheriff's Office?
28 years.
And how many of those years were spent as an investigator with the Sheriff's Office?
21.
Back in January of 2013, were you still employed and working as an investigator with the Wake County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, sir.
Did you have the occasion to become involved in the case that we've been talking about here involving the homicide that was located at 708 Colonial Drive?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Specifically, on January the 15th of 2013, did you assist in the execution of a search warrant at 168 Montesino Drive located here within Wake County?
Yes, sir.
What was your role or purpose in assisting with that search warrant?
It was several investigators on the scene, and once we were there executing the search warrant, we took rooms in the house, and I actually took the room to the right as you walk out of the living room, which was Jonathan's room.
Okay. And when you're talking about Jonathan, who are you referring to?
The defendant.
Okay. And when you searched Jonathan's room, what did you find?
May I refer to my notes?
Absolutely.
Okay. As I was searching the room, I collected 3 pair of tennis shoes, and there was also, I collected key ring and a book bag that had several paper writings in it, and I think there were a couple of notebooks that I collected as well.
Why did you collect those notebooks?
As I was executing the search warrant, I was just looking for anything that could tie us to, what was listed actually on the search warrant. And I found in the notebooks it had a couple of writings about.
At this point. Hearsay. That's it.
She has not stated what the writings say at this point. The objection at this point.
Sounds like she was getting ready to get that one.
Overruled. Go ahead, Mr. Sachs.
I was saying, these things had writings. Did they seem to you to be relevant to the investigation?
Yes,
Okay. And did you collect those items then?
I did.
After you collect those items, what do you do with them?
I placed them into an evidence bag while we're at the scene.
Okay. And where are those items then kept after you place them into an evidence bag?
Well, they were actually kept with me and put into my car, and then they were driven downtown and placed into an evidence locker.
Okay. And is that the secure facility where you keep evidence needed and to later bring to court?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If I may approach, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, let me hand you what's been marked for identification as State's Exhibit number 14. Do you see that red sticker that has the 14 on it?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask you just to look at that for a moment and see if you can tell what that is.
This is the items that I collected from Jonathan's room on the night of the search with my initials on it.
You do see your initials?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is that bag sealed up as you look at it right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But it's a clear bag?
Yes, sir.
as you look through it, can you see that those are actually the items that you collected that you just talked about?
Yes, sir.
Except for the shoes, right? You talked about shoes.
Except for the shoes.
Um, if you would then, go ahead and open up that bag. May I approach again?
Yes, sir, you may.
Bell, let me hand you what's now been marked by identification as State Exhibit 14A. Do you see that red sticker on
Yes,
that?
sir.
Okay. What is that?
This notebook?
Yes.
This is one of the notebooks that I found in Jonathan's room.
Okay. As you look at that notebook right now, does it appear to be in the same condition as when you collected it back on January the 15th of 2013 from that room at 168 Montesino Drive?
Yes, sir.
Did you make any kind of writings or highlights or anything like that inside this notebook?
No.
Did you take anything out of that notebook, tear any pages out or add any pages in?
No.
All right. I move then to introduce State Exhibits 14A into evidence.
Any objections? You know, not at this time to the introduction, but if we might need to be heard on publication.
I'll receive it in evidence at this time.
Thank you, ma'am. I don't have anything else, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
No questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Second, you may step down. And you should be excused.
I was certainly asked that.
Oh, you're right.
Thank you.
You may come against witness.
Thank you. And state we call investigator Ed Blomgren to stand.
Sir, if you would please place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thanks.
Morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, sir. Would you please introduce yourself to this jury and tell them what you do for a living?
I'm Edward A. Blomgren. I'm employed by the Wake County Sheriff's Office. I'm a sergeant in the investigative division.
And could you tell us how long have you been with the Wake County Sheriff's Office?
I've been with the Wake County Sheriff's Office since August of 2006.
And how long since that time have you been employed as an investigator with the Sheriff's Office?
Was promoted to investigations March of 2008.
Back in January of 2013, were you still employed and working as an investigator with the Wake County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, I was a senior investigator at that time.
Did you have the occasion to assist other investigators with your office with the execution of some search warrants located on Montesino Drive here in Wake County?
I did.
Okay. And specifically, do you know, were you involved with both of the search warrants that occurred both on the 15th of January and the 22nd of January of 2013?
Yes, I did.
Just so that we understand what you did, but before going to those search warrants, were you previously involved in this investigation of the homicide that occurred at 708 Colonial Drive?
Yes, I was. I was one of the investigators called out that evening.
So did you actually go to the crime scene after it was called out that first night?
Not initially. I was called in to assist with writing the search warrant, and then after the search warrant was signed, then I went to the scene. So I did end up at the scene, yes.
And you said that you actually got the search warrant to search the crime scene?
Yes.
Okay. So when you went in, were you one of the first authorized people to go through the scene?
Yes, I was. I went. I did a walkthrough with the agent from the City County Bureau of Identification.
Would you describe what you saw from the scene when you walked in there? Is this back on January the 5th of 2013?
Yes.
Okay. What did you see when you walked in there?
It's probably one of the most horrific scenes I've been on in my career in public service. I've worked in EMS, fire, military, and now law enforcement. And it ranks right up there as one of the most horrifics. Walking up the path, what I recall is seeing some shell casings outside. There, if I remember correctly, as I recall, there appeared to be bullet holes or marks in the door frame. The door frame was damaged. What I recall is the door was actually, if I remember correctly, knocked off its hinges like it had been potentially kicked in. And as you walk through the door, it just appeared, it appeared almost as if somebody had been firing with an automatic weapon. There were bullet holes pretty much sprayed everywhere as you walked into that first room. Immediately to the right, you saw the male, Jose. If I remember correctly, I believe that's his first name, Jose, on the couch. It didn't even appear as if he even had an opportunity to move before he was shot. As you walk in, like I said, there are shell casings everywhere. The walls are littered with bullet holes. And straight in front of you, as I recall it, there's a doorway, and you can see a female, that'd be Marie, laying in the kitchen floor. If I recall right, she was laying face down, her feet were towards me, giving me the indication as if she was trying to get away from what was coming through that door. And that room, again, appeared as if it had been, there were shell casings, multiple bullet holes everywhere, almost indiscriminate just firing. Didn't appear as if it mattered who was in there, or they, were targeting an individual there. It was as if, anybody was game. To the left, if I remember correctly, again, I believe there were several bullet holes going down a hallway, shell casings. You come down the hallway to the left at the end of it. There was a room there, and that room was again just littered with bullet holes, shell casings. At the dead end of that hallway, it went to the right, my recollection, and straight in front of you was the bathroom. To the left of the bathroom, as you walk down the hallway, there's another door. And what I recall about that, I don't recall very many bullet holes in that room, if there were any, but the door appeared to have been kicked in. The doorknob was laying in the room, and across the hall from the door itself was an indentation in the wall. And it appeared that the door had been kicked and the person fell back into the wall.
Were there basically, what you could see, either casings or bullet holes or some evidence of firearm use in every room of that house?
As I recall it, yes. Just pretty much every room had been shot into, or there had been firearm discharged in those rooms.
Now, were you assigned as the lead investigator to be working on this case after you were called out there?
No, I wasn't the lead investigator. I was called out to assist.
And it's some of that assistance, did that include assisting with the search warrants done on January the 15th of 2013 at 165 and 168 of Montesino Drive?
I assisted with the serving of those search warrants or performing the searches at those addresses.
Were those performed at the same time? Do you know? The search warrants on the 15th, were those served at the same time at those two locations?
Oh, the two houses in the cul-de-sac? Yes. Both houses were searched at the same time. There were two separate teams searching at the same time.
Which residence or house were you involved searching?
165 Montesino.
And when during the search of 165 Montesino back on January the 15th of 2013, do you recall what of significance you all found when you executed that search warrant?
Well, the most significant was I believe it was an AK-47 and a .45 handgun, which we believe would possibly be the weapons used at the crime scene. We also there was some ammunition there that was similar to that was on the crime scene. If I remember correctly, specifically the .45s. Some of the rounds that had where the head stamp is, where the firing pin strikes, were scratched off, and they were scratched off in what appeared to be a similar manner of the spent rounds that were at the crime scene.
Did you become aware that another search warrant for that same residence at 165 Montesino Drive was obtained and was due to be executed on January the 22nd of 2013?
Yes, I did.
And did you assist in the execution of that search warrant as well?
Yes, I did.
Could you tell us about that search? What was found when you assisted in that search?
If you don't mind, I'll refer to
Yes, sir.
the list from that day. On January 22nd, 2013, we removed from the residence of significance a high point .45 caliber handgun, model JHP 45 ACP.
Where was that weapon found, do you know?
As I recall, that was located in the attic.
Were you up in the attic searching for these items?
No, sir.
Do you know who was up in the attic searching those items?
I believe, no, it was Investigator Welch and Investigator Barefoot on that particular day.
Okay. And when they found the that 45 caliber handgun, what did they do with it? Did you see?
Up in the attic, I know they retrieved it and they handed it down to me, is what I recall.
So did you take the handgun from them from the attic?
Yes, they passed it down through to me.
Okay. What did you do with it when they handed it down to you?
At that point in time, I made what I recall is it had the magazine still in it, so I didn't know if it was a safe weapon. The first thing that we try to do is make the weapon safe. I removed the magazine, slid the slide back to make sure there wasn't a round chambered, and remove, if there's a round in there, you remove the round and you make the firearm safe, lock the slide back, and you make sure that it can't be fired at that point with any live ammunition.
Oh, and do you know, what did you do with it at that point after you made the weapon safe?
Well, I put it in a location to be safe, because I mean, they were still up there searching. I didn't know what else was going to be brought back down, so I just kept it somewhere nearby where I could keep an eye on it and retrieve any other evidence that was coming down.
Did they hand you some other evidence from that attic?
What I recall is a 12-gauge shotgun being handed down. There was some ammunition handed down, the 12-gauge ammunition, a box of that, a plastic baggie. I don't recall, I can't remember if the blue bandana came from up there or not, but I believe it did. And also a Food Line plastic bag.
Okay. What was in that plastic bag?
The Food Line plastic bag?
Yes, sir.
In that I have listed here that there was a black Pro Balance double-edged knife with a sheath, black brass type knuckles, a multicolored brass type knuckles, another pair, black handled folding knife with a locking that appeared to have a locking blade, small glass-like multiple colored smoking pipe, and what appeared to be possibly a homemade white and color smoking pipe.
And what did you do with that bag when it was handed down to you from the attic?
I kept everything in one location, and so that I could document it. I recognize this as my handwriting on the search warrants evidence form or inventory list, and I scribed everything. From there, I turned everything with the exception of the 45 over to Investigator Barefoot, is what I recall. And
What did you do with the 45 caliber handgun?
I had possession of that. I brought it back to investigations. I was aware that we were going to probably need to have that further tested. So it came back to investigation, and it was placed in our safe in investigations. And the very next day, the 23rd, I transported the firearm to the State Bureau of Investigations for their lab to conduct testing on it.
Can I approach your own?
Yes.
We already have it marked, just that will. So let me show you what's been previously marked for identification as State Exhibit number 13. You see the red sticker with the 13 on it?
I do.
Okay, just ask you to look at that for a moment and see if you can tell us what that is.
This bag, evidence bag, contains the white Food Line bag, plastic bag, and all of the items, appears to be all the items that I just described to you that were removed that were in that bag.
Do those, and State Exhibit number 13, is it in a clear evidence bag?
Yes, it is.
So you can see through the bag?
I can.
As you look at those items in State Exhibit number 13, do they appear to be in the same condition as when you received them from the attic space back at 165 Montesino Drive on January the 22nd of 2013?
Other than being in the bag, yes. In the Food line bag, yes, they all appear to be in the same condition.
Okay. And as you look at the items contained in State's Exhibit number 13, does anything appear to have been added in there or taken out from what you originally had described as being part of that tag that you received?
No, as I can see, every item that I just listed is, appears to be in the bag.
Thank you. I would introduce State's Exhibit 13 then.
Any objections?
No, Your Honor.
13 is received and all the items.
May I approach again, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Sir, let me hand you now what's marked for identification previously as State's Exhibit number 7. Do you see that red sticker with the 7 on it?
I do.
Okay. Ask you to look at that for a moment and see if you can tell us what that is.
The box appears to be the same box that I would have packaged a firearm in. The label on the top is my handwriting. The taped edges sealing the box have my initials on them. Obviously, this has been previously opened. It has not been opened by myself since it was sealed.
Okay. As you look inside the box, do you recognize what's in there?
This appears to be the same firearm that I would have packaged, or that I packaged in here. Your Honor, would you have any objections to me removing the firearm from the box, just to look at the serial number?
No, but I would just ask you to, before you remove it, describe the lime green, just for the jury's sake, and
Okay.
describe the purpose of that, and to ensure the jury and assure the court that the weapon is in a safe position. You can explain that.
Yes, Your Honor. There are lime green zip ties that are through the barrel and also through where the magazine is inserted. Okay. The slide is back. It's being maintained in that manner so that it is kept in a safe manner so that you can see without doubt that the firearm is not ready to be fired. There's also a white, I don't know how to describe it, with tag here that I did not place on there, but there's a white tag here that somebody else has placed on there. And according to my description on the inventory sheet, this is the same firearm. I've noted on the serial number here, there's an X and then there's some scratch marks. At the time, I couldn't necessarily read the serial numbers very well. And all the other markings appear to be exactly the same as I've noted in my notes here. Therefore, it'll be the same firearm that we removed from the attic that day.
Does that firearm appear to be in the same condition as when you received it or took control of it back on January the 22nd of 2013 in the residence of 165 Montesino Drive?
Yes,
Okay.
I would say it is.
There also appears to be some kind of small manila envelope inside that box as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
What is that?
Again, this is an evidence envelope. As you can see, I've taped up all the edges. My initials are on it. And sealing this, and this contains the magazine and the ammunition that was in the firearm at the time.
I may approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
sir, I've now placed the red exhibit sticker marking this as State Exhibit 7A. Do you see that?
I do.
Is that on that same envelope you just described?
Yes, it is.
Is that envelope now marked State Exhibit 7A? Is it in a sealed condition right now?
Yes, it is.
And do you see your initials and handwriting on the outside of that envelope?
I do, from where I originally sealed it.
Okay. If you would then go ahead and open up State Exhibit 7A and let's confirm that the items that you suspect are in there are actually in there.
This is the magazine that was in the firearm.
Hold on, first of all, before you show them, can you just look in the envelope and confirm for yourself that what you believe you had packaged in there is still in there?
Yes, it appears to be.
And are all those items inside that envelope marked State Exhibit 7A, do they appear to be in the same condition as when you packaged them there after retrieving this item during the search warrant?
I believe they are, yes.
Your Honor, at this time then, I'd move to introduce State Exhibit 7 and 7A into evidence.
Any objections?
No, Your Honor.
7 and 7A are both admitted into evidence.
Now, sir, I think you were about to show and describe. What were you trying to show from State Exhibit 7A?
No, this is the magazine that came out of this firearm. It was packaged with it originally, and let's see. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I count 10 what appear to be .45 caliber bullets. The head stamps appear to be scratched off in a similar manner as to those that were found at the crime scene that I saw that day.
We've heard about 2 crime scenes, so just for the record and for the juries and the court to make sure that we're straight. When you're saying crime, the ones you found at the crime scene, you're referring to January the 5th on Colonial Drive and not December the 4th.
Correct, January the 5th. That's the only crime scene that I responded to in this matter. So the head stamps appear to be scratched or marked in the same manner or similar manners to those that were found out there.
Are all the rounds that you found in that magazine, are all those rounds scratched off in the back?
I believe a majority of them were. I believe there were a few that were not. This one was not. It appears all of them except for 2 have the same markings or similar markings.
And, okay, if you put that down, let's look at State Exhibit number 7 then. You pulled out the magazine and the ammunition. How about the gun itself? If you pull that out and show that to the jury, is that in the same condition as when you retrieved it?
Just at a quick glance, it looks fairly similar. I don't recall the serial numbers, and I have it written down that the serial numbers were not visible. And I don't recall this damage here, so this may have been, if they attempted to raise the serial numbers In my understanding, I believe they use an acid, possibly use an acid or something along those lines, which may have caused this damage here.
Okay. Is that the only difference that you note from when you saw the weapon back on January the 22nd of 2013?
As I recall, yes.
And was that weapon, when you received it, was handed to you from the attic space, was that weapon loaded?
Yes, it was loaded.
Thanks. I don't have anything further.
Cross-examination.
Is it Officer Blomgren?
Blumgren, that's very good.
Blomgren,
Yes.
okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
From the time of the first search, which was on January 15th, to the second search, was that residence of 165 Montecito, was that kept secured?
I do not believe so.
Know if anyone lived there during that period of time?
I don't know if they moved out, or if they stayed there or not.
But when you said, you don't think, so it was not kept where someone no one was, it wasn't kept where, to keep people from going there, in other words? People could have either gone there, visited, stayed there between the 15th and the 22nd?
I don't recall it being kept as a continuous crime scene. Investigator Barefoot or Investigator Welch would be the better persons to ask that specific question, as they were the lead investigators.
Okay. May I approach?
Yes, sir.
I believe you have your inventory sheet from second search.
Yes, this is a copy, so
Yeah, you might have to take a look.
I do not.
You mentioned a sticker earlier, a white, I thought you mentioned a white tag of some sort.
It's in
You didn't
the
recognize?
trigger guard.
Okay.
This appears to have been, I would be hazarding a guess, but it appears to have the number that would be similar to one that would be put on there by the SBI.
Okay, so that's not something that was on there when you retrieved the weapon from the officers in the attic?
No,
Okay.
it's not.
That's all the questions I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Have retrieved. Your Honor, State would call Mario Urbina Gomez to the stand. Be careful of that door. And watch your step.
Sir, if you would
If you would allow the interpreter 1 second to retrieve the other receiver.
Go ahead. And while he's doing that, I'll let the members of the jury know that this witness is not related by blood or marriage to the interpreter. They just share the common last name.
That's correct. Póngase los audífonos. And the interpreter just instructed the witness to put on the earphones.
You may.
Ya se los puedo poner.
If you'll please stand, place your left hand on one, raise your right.
Por favor, levántese, ponga la mano izquierda en la Biblia y levante la derecha.
Left hand on the Bible and raise your right.
Mano izquierda en la Biblia, levante la derecha.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Sí. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Ya se puede sentar.
You may proceed.
Se puede proceder.
Good morning, sir. Would you please tell this jury who you
¿Le
are?
puede decir al jurado quién es usted?
Mario Urbina Gómez.
Mario Urbina Gómez.
And sir, I'm going to ask you to speak loudly and clearly into that microphone so everybody
Con
can
voz
hear you,
alta,
okay?
cerca del micrófono para que todo el mundo le pueda escuchar, ¿ok?
Está bien.
That's fine.
Okay. Mr. Gomez, are you familiar with the house that's located at 165 Montesino Drive, located here in Wake County?
Localizada acá en el condado de Wake.
Sí.
Yes.
How do you know about that house?
¿Y cómo sabe de esta casa?
Soy el propietario de la vivienda.
I am the owner of this home.
Were you the owner of this home back in January of 2013?
En enero de esta casa en el 2013.
Sí.
Yes.
Were you living in that residence back in January of
En enero de
2013?
2013.
Sí.
Yes.
Who was living in that residence
Estaba
with
viviendo
you?
en esta residencia con usted.
Un familiar.
A family member.
Okay. So was it just the two of you all?
¿Eran solamente los dos de ustedes?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. Did you rent out any portion of that house to other people?
¿Casa a alguna otra persona?
No.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you know Israel Vasquez?
¿Usted al señor Israel Vázquez?
Sí.
Yes.
How do you know him?
¿Cómo lo conoce?
Yo lo conocí por medio de su hermana, que su hermana me pidió que yo le rentara a su mamá.
I met him through his sister. His sister asked me through her to be able to rent to him.
Okay.
To his mother. Interpreter correct.
¿Sigo?
Can I continue?
Yes.
Sí.
Por eso conocí a Vázquez.
That's how I met Vasquez.
Yo no lo conocía a ellos
I didn't know them.
por medio de su hermana que me pidió que le rentara la propiedad.
Through their sister, in order for me to be able to rent the property.
Did you rent them the property?
¿Les arrendó la propiedad?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. And was this back in January of
¿Esto fue en enero
2013?
del 2013?
Sí.
Yes.
So at that time, in January of 2013, how many people total are in the house?
En total vivían allí en la casa.
Cinco.
5.
How long have you owned that house at 165 Montesino Drive?
Es propietario usted de esta casa de 165 Montesino Drive.
13 años.
13 years.
And how long
¿Cuánto tiempo?
have you rented space to Mr.
arrendado
Vasquez
el
and
espacio al señor Vázquez
his family?
y a su familia?
7 años.
7 years.
Is that up to this point, to this day now?
¿Esto continúa hasta esta fecha?
Sí.
Yes.
Una pregunta.
One question.
Yes, sir.
Sí, señor.
Cada mes le estoy pidiendo la propiedad y no quieren desalojar.
Every month I am asking for the property back, but they do not want to leave.
Okay,
And-
well,
yeah.
that's gonna be something we'll,
Okay, eso es
you know,
algo
that'll come up later, I
Separado
think.
que eventualmente va a surgir.
At the time back in
Pero
January of
en este momento, en enero
2013,
del
how long had they
2013,
been living
tiempo
in
habían
that
estado
residence with
viviendo en
you?
esta residencia con usted?
Atrás,
Back then?
Yes, sir.
Sí, señor.
5 años.
5 years. Okay.
Do you know how to get to the attic space in your house?
¿Usted sabe cómo acceder al ático de su casa?
Sí.
Yes.
How do you do that?
¿Cómo lo hace?
Solamente las personas que están rentando la recámara, que son 3 personas, solamente ellos pueden usar el ático.
Only the people who are renting the room, who are 3 of them, they are able to use the attic.
Why is that?
¿Y cómo así? ¿Cómo es esto?
Porque está dentro de la recámara y nada más tienen ellos acceso a poder tomar el ático.
Because it is located within the room and only them have access to the attic.
Okay, so they're the ones who are renting the room where the attic access
El
is?
cuarto donde tienen acceso al ático.
Correcto.
That's correct.
Prior to that family moving in, did you use your attic space for any kind of storage or any other purpose?
¿Algún tipo de almacenamiento o algún otro propósito?
No.
No.
Had you ever gone up into your attic space before that family
Antes
moved
de
in?
que esta familia se mudara aquí, ¿usted había subido allá al ático?
No.
No.
Do you own any firearms?
¿Es dueño de algún arma de fuego?
No.
No.
In the 13 years that you have owned that house,
Ha sido
have you
propietario de
brought,
esta casa.
whether you own them or not, have you
Usted-
brought
si es
any
que
firearms
usted, ha sido
into your
dueño de
house?
ellas, ¿ha traído algún tipo de arma de fuego adentro de su residencia?
No.
No.
Are you aware of
¿Está
the
usted al tanto?
firearms that were found in your house back in
Que
January of
algunas armas que las
2013?
encontraron allí en su casa en enero del 2013. Interpreter needs repetition, please.
Did you find out about firearms, guns being found in your house back in
Que se
January of
encontraron algunas
2013?
armas en enero del 2013?
No.
No.
Were you present when
Estaba
the
presente
search
usted
warrants were
cuando
executed at your
se,
house back in January of
ejecutaron las órdenes de
2013?
cateo en enero del 2013?
Sí.
Yes.
Did you find out either while you were there at the
Supo
scene
usted,
or from the officers
mientras
later
estaba
that
aquí en la
guns were
zona,
found in there?
¿O por los oficiales que se encontraron armas allí?
No. Posteriormente yo supe cuando me trajeron aquí a detener.
No, I found afterwards when I was brought over here at the detention.
Cuando llegaron, yo dije, wow, ¿qué pasó?
When
Yo estaba descansando, me dijeron, wow, ¿qué pasó?
they came, I said, what? What happened? They came in, I was resting, I said, what's going on?
Nunca había tenido este problema.
I had never had this issue.
Aquí, de mis 51 años que tengo, nunca había tenido
I've been
problema.
15 years old, I've never had this type
No,
of issue.
nada. Yo no sé por qué.
None of that.
O sea,
I don't know why.
me dio mucho miedo. Tengo mucho miedo yo al respecto.
So I was very scared. I'm still very scared in regard to all of this.
Y a este momento tengo demasiado miedo con la familia.
And up until this second, I am really scared about the family.
No sé qué, no sé.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Did you, in January of
Enero del
2013,
2013.
were you aware of
¿Está
any
usted al
guns
tanto de
that were in your
armas
house?
que estaban presentes en su casa?
Oh,
No.
And to this day,
Hasta la
have you
fecha,
brought any
¿ha
guns
traído
into your house?
algún arma en su casa?
no.
No.
The room where the attic access
Cuarto
is,
donde
do you
está
know
el
who was
acceso al
specifically
ático?
staying in
¿Sabe
that
quién
room?
específicamente se estaba quedando en este cuarto?
Sí.
Yes.
Who was staying in that room?
¿Quién se estaba quedando en este cuarto?
Teodora Vázquez,
Teodora Vázquez,
Andrés Vázquez,
Andres Vasquez,
Israel Vázquez,
Israel Vasquez,
no recuerdo el otro nombre,
I don't remember the other name.
Was it another male or another or
Era
female?
otro hombre, otra mujer.
hombre, hermano de ellos.
Mel, it was one of their brothers.
Okay,
Okay,
that's fine.
está bien.
Thanks, I don't have any.
Gracias, señor.
anything
No tengo
further.
nada más.
Cross-examination.
Contrainterrogatorio.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mr. Gomez.
Buenos días, señor Gómez.
Good
morning.
I just want to be clear.
Simplemente quiero
You named 4 people, is that correct, that were staying in that room?
personas que se estaban quedando allí en este cuarto.
Sí,
Yes.
What was the first person's
¿Cuál fue la primera persona?
name?
El nombre.
Teodora Vázquez,
Teodora Vasquez.
Is that a male or female?
Es hombre o mujer.
mujer.
Female.
And the second person you named, was
La
that,
segunda persona que usted nombró.
what's that name again?
¿Cuál es el nombre nuevamente?
Israel Vázquez,
Israel Vasquez.
Okay. And then I believe you said Andres Vasquez?
Había también un Andrés Vázquez.
sí,
Yes. Is that a male?
Este es su nombre.
sí.
Yes.
About how old?
Más o menos cuántos años tiene.
Andrés,
Andrés.
Yes.
Sí.
unos 24, 25, no recuerdo.
Maybe 24, 25. I don't remember.
Was that a brother
Era
to Israel
hermano de
Vasquez?
Israel Vasquez.
Ya, sí.
Yes. Yes.
And then the fourth male,
Y el cuarto hombre.
is that the one, do you remember the name of that male?
¿Se acuerda del nombre de este hombre?
No me acuerdo.
I don't remember.
Was it Elias?
¿Se llama Elías?
Elías, sí. No, otro nombre. Elías es su hermano.
Elías, yes.
hermano.
No, the different name, that's his brother.
That's whose brother?
Es el hermano de quién?
De Santillan, de
Of Santillan?
No,
No.
es hermano de Andrés,
It's Andres' brother.
brother.
So it's, and Israel, is that Israel's brother as
El
well?
hermano de Israel también.
Sí.
Yes.
Es Manuel el que se está quedando en el cuarto de las 4 personas.
Is Manuel the one who's staying in the room where the 4 people are?
Can you repeat that?
¿Será que puede repetir eso, por favor?
Manuel el que se queda en el cuarto de las
Manuel.
4 personas.
The one who stays in the room of the 4 people.
Manuel is the
Manuel es el,
third male?
El tercer hombre.
Sí.
Yes.
And how old is Manuel?
¿Y cuántos años tiene Manuel?
Or how old was Manuel
¿Cuántos años tenía
when he lived there?
cuando vivió allí?
No sé cuántos años tiene.
No, I don't know how old he is.
Approximately?
Aproximadamente.
18.
18.
And do you know how approximately how old Israel was
¿Cuántos
when he lived
años,
there?
Tenía Israel cuando vivía allí.
13.
13, 13.
No recuerdo.
I don't remember.
And you were the only other person living in the house?
¿Otra persona que vivía en la casa?
Sí.
Yes.
Your Honor, may the interpreter instruct the witness to look at the attorneys and not at the interpreter, please? Señor, por favor, voltea a ver a los abogados y no al intérprete.
Sí.
Voltea a ver a los abogados, por favor.
Ok.
Gracias.
Sí.
Mr. Cutler, whenever you're ready.
Señor Carlos, cuando esté listo.
After the, so what what happened when the police came to search your residence?
Entonces, ¿qué es lo que sucedió cuando la policía llegó para registrar su vivienda?
que todos nos fuéramos al suelo y que iban a hacer una revisión de la propiedad.
We all laid on the ground because they were going to search the property.
How did you find out they were there?
¿Y cómo se enteró usted que ellos estaban ahí?
Porque yo ese día yo estaba descansando.
Because that day I was off.
But when did you first see the police?
¿Y cuándo fue la primera vez que usted vio a la policía?
Ese mismo día.
That same day.
And tell me what happened. How did they get into your house?
Y dígame qué sucedió, cómo entraron ellos a su casa.
Tocaron la puerta, no la abrieron.
They knocked on the door, they didn't open.
Posteriormente le dieron un golpe y se rompió la puerta
After that, they hit the door and the door broke
por no querer abrir la puerta principal.
because they didn't want to open the main door.
Y a todos nos dijeron que nos fuéramos al suelo, que era una orden de revisión de la propiedad.
And they told all of us to lay on the ground because they had a search warrant.
Yo sin saber qué es lo que estaba pasando al respecto,
And since I did not know what was happening,
yo me asusté demasiado.
I got really scared.
After they did the search and everyone was brought down to investigations, correct? Or to the police department?
Y después de que hicieron el cateo, a todos los llevaron a la jefatura de la policía.
Sí,
Yes.
Did you go back to when did you go back to the residence?
¿Y cuándo regresó usted a su residencia?
15 de marzo.
March 15?
Did anyone live in the residence
¿Alguien vivía,
after January 15th?
¿Alguien vivía en la residencia después del 15 de enero?
Sí, sí.
Who was in the residence?
Your Honor, the interpreter needs to request a repetition from the attorney. Is that okay?
You may.
I'm sorry, did you say March or January?
I'm not sure, but I meant,
Would you repeat the question for
Sure.
the interpreter, please?
did anyone go back to the house or live in the house after the search warrant was executed on
Después,
January 15th?
después del 15 de enero, ¿alguien regresó a la casa después de que se llevó a cabo la orden de cateo de la casa?
No.
No.
Were you the next person to go back to the house, as far as you know, after the search warrant was executed on the 15th?
Que usted sepa, después de que se llevó a cabo la orden de cateo el 15, ¿usted fue la próxima persona que regresó a esta casa?
Regresó la familia y yo regresé el 15 de marzo a la casa.
The family returned, and then I returned to the house March 15th.
Why did you not go back after January 15th?
¿Y por qué no regresó usted ahí después del 15 de enero?
Porque a mí me tenían detenido hasta que se aclarara el problema.
Because I was detained until the problem was cleared up.
Thank you, that's all the questions I have.
Gracias, esas son todas las preguntas.
Sir, were you initially charged with some stuff that was found inside of your house from January the 15th, 2013?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, the interpreter needs to request another repetition.
Sure.
Would you repeat that question one more time?
Were you charged with some offenses based on things that were found in your home on January the 15th, 2013?
¿Usted fue imputado con algún cargo o algún delito por alguna de las cosas que se hallaron dentro de su casa en enero del 2013?
Sí.
Yes.
And were those charges eventually dismissed in court?
¿Y finalmente esos cargos fueron retirados ante el juez?
Sí.
Yes.
And did you have any connection with any of those items that were found in your house back on January the 15th, 2013?
¿Y usted tuvo algún tipo de conexión con los artículos que se encontraron en su casa el 15 de enero del 2013?
No.
No.
Thank you, sir. I don't have anything else, Your Honor.
Any recross, Mr. Cutler?
Just briefly. Were you aware they found marijuana in your home on the 15th of January?
¿Estaba usted al tanto que hallaron marihuana en enero 15 dentro de su casa?
Yo estuve al tanto cuando me trajeron aquí en la noche,
I was aware when they brought me that night here.
ahí me di cuenta yo.
That's when I found out.
But you were aware that the residents of your house that you've described smoke marijuana, correct?
Usted estaba enterado que la residencia de su casa, ahí fumaban marihuana, ¿correcto?
Ya.
Yeah.
And you told the police that you knew that they smoked marijuana in the residence, correct?
Y usted le dijo a la policía que usted sabía que adentro de esa residencia fumaban marihuana, ¿correcto?
No precisamente adentro, fumaban afuera en el parquedero, afuera.
Not precisely inside, but they would smoke outside, like in the parking lot area of the house.
All right, thank you.
I have a question.
Una pregunta.
I have a question.
No, sir.
I mean, I don't have any other questions, Your Honor.
Yo ya no tengo ninguna pregunta, señoría.
Thank you, sir. You can step down.
Gracias, señor. Ya se puede bajar.
Members of the jury, it's about 8 minutes till 11. This is a good time for us to take our morning break. I'm going to release you until 11:10. Please keep in mind the rules. Don't talk about this case among yourselves or allow anybody to talk about it in your presence. Don't form any opinions about anything that you've heard, and don't conduct any research or investigation. I'm going to ask you to return to the jury room at 11:10, and we'll resume at that time. I'm going to ask everyone else to please remain seated while the jury is excused. Excuse me, let the record reflect that all members of the jury have left the courtroom. Anything from the state?
Yes, sir.
Or the defendant?
No, Your Honor.
And your next witness is the CCDI agent, she's here. She did. Very well. We'll be at recess till 10 after 11.
Your Honor, may the interpreters be excused for the day?
Yes, I don't think that we're going to need y'all. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I believe that'll be it for this trial. I don't think we have any other witnesses where they'll be needed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Superior Court stands at recess till 11:10.